Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Gooey's Dungeon Dive. I'm here with Corey, and we're floating up in the air here? Or are we on the air? We're just kind of getting a breeze.
I think it's just that's what I always thought. I always thought it was just a breeze or something.
Okay, yeah, no, our feet are planted on the ground. We've done a lot of questing, some book collecting and stuff like that. And we're ready here to take on our next dungeon here in the middle of Lake Hylia. So let's get down into it. What do you say?
Yes, let's do it. I love collecting the books, by the way. That's so fun.
The books, it's fun. But we did need to see that. It's freezing in here.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're a hat, I don't blame him.
Not a hat-sicle. So here we are. We're in the Temple of Droplets.
Look at that. There's like a frozen clover or flower underneath there.
Interesting.
Very nice atmosphere right off the bat.
Yeah, we're slipping around here as Lo's telling us. We've got kind of a spooky, wintry song.
Yeah, I like that it's not super intense, it's just kind of mysterious.
Mm-hmm. It could be... Oh my goodness. I feel like it would fit alongside, like in a Link to the Past dungeon theme, kind of.
Yeah, I could see
with
that.
a wintry theme. So here we've got a room where we've got a locked door, and just one way to go. We got some of these freaks. Oh, here. I got the boomerang.
Some of these freaks. You got the boomerang already? Dang.
Yeah. I've been having fun in this game this time around. I've actually been doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, look at this. We got the light shining on Link here.
What's that going to be used for? I wonder.
And here's the start of, I guess, the puzzle motif of this dungeon. Which... Part 1 is light. Hey, that sunlight shining through. So nice and warm. I can feel myself starting to frost.
That's a neat little hint right there.
Mm-hmm.
The obligatory hint, but he masks it by talking about himself.
This is kind of a good puzzle, because I feel like... Okay, some things in the icicle block... Just take a look, I don't know if it... Like, that's a nice, I mean, it's... Yeah, it's, like, vague enough,
Yeah.
And it's a nice...
That's fun.
We're just getting the starter puzzle here.
It's like a nice little combo of, like, light shining through from a Link to the Past type thing, but also, like, a classic ice puzzle. Classic ice sliding, block pushing puzzle type thing.
Yeah, I would say it's cool to get, like, kind of a unique take on that, because I feel like at least me personally, I've been critical of the limits of the ice or the light puzzles in Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, so, like, I think one of the best ones is just a one-time thing in A Link to the Past, you know? And so this is kind of a unique take on it. So here now we have to drop down.
Already right off the bat, they're bumping up the difficulty here.
This one is fairly difficult. We may have to, we might have to cut this if I struggle too much. That's always a possibility.
Better not have to reset. That'd be real embarrassing.
It would be horrible.
Something that we didn't really mention is like the boss door was right in front of us. It was the first thing we saw after we got off those steps, and now here's the boss key.
Well, I briefly mentioned that. Okay.
Oh.
So I
wasn't paying attention.
Wow, how dare you? So yeah, we don't want to send it going all the way that way. I'm trying to remember it.
This reminds me of like classic Game Boy Color puzzles. Like, I'm thinking of like Pokemon Gold and Silver, like sliding around an ice cave.
Oh yeah. For me, oh crud, I don't think this is right. For me, it's like it involves a lot of trial and error, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
I think I solved it. Let's reset.
I think you still could have done it there.
Oh, really?
But I don't want to tell you.
Well, like I said, we'll keep track, and if I fail at this multiple times, will make fun of me. Well, can't change. No, okay. There's a few like this in the game, in the dungeon. I mean, so.
Are you a fan of ice mechanics and ice puzzles in games, just in general? Because I feel like that's a big bugaboo for some people, but I really like them.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. They're fun in some games, but it can get a little bit like, I don't know. Sometimes going back through certain areas and stuff and sliding around when you're like, I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. That can be a little bit annoying, you know. But
I think combat can be frustrating on ice too.
Combat, yeah. Okay, so yes, I got it. I'm glad. I think I got it. Oh shoot.
I believe in you.
Tell me if I'm messing up. No, we got this.
You're on the right track.
Whew, okay. I was like I can handle failing at this once, but I don't, you know. I was like, I'm literally gonna edit the video if I have to do this multiple times.
Just do a hard cut. We got the big key.
I'd be honest. I'd be like, hey, this took me a million times, but
first try.
Yeah, I think ice can be like, it can be fun. I think it definitely is better suited for a more linear experience, if that makes sense. Because like, yeah, the going, like sometimes when you're backtracking, like that can really, I feel like, add to frustration of backtracking. I had that in the Ice Palace a little bit in A Link to the Past, you know, where I'm like, oh god, I gotta slip through this room again.
Okay, I can see that. Whoa,
but I don't know,
through the big door already.
Yeah. So it's, in this game, it has been like the room the boss / element is in, and here we go. It's like,
whoa, there it is.
Yeah, so this is kind of a unique thing because the element's in here. We gotta melt the thing. So it is kind of like it harkens back slightly to A Link to the Past, where you know, it's not so scripted where the boss key or the big key or whatever leads you.
Big scary thing down in the doorway down there?
Oh, is it visible? This doesn't look scary to me.
You're right. It's probably just like a statue or something.
Yeah, it's normal. It's not like Majora's Mask or anything.
It's not like a flying pot that'll just come alive and attack you.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I we can go up here. Like, I didn't even like go over here or go down because I'm just so instinctually like, yep, then you go left. Because this is this dungeon is probably the most linear in the game. Like, there is kind of just a path you sort of follow, and literally the only backtracking, like, I think you seriously do here, like for the goodies and stuff, is for like kinstones and stuff like that. So
there's a couple chests that you'll probably miss on your first time through because you need an item.
Whoops. I'm almost glad, because I'm like, some of those rooms, I'm like, I don't really want to come back here.
You know what though? It's very like this has kind of been like the motif for dungeons in this game and some games moving forward. This is a very loop-centric dungeon.
It's
Big
I mean,
time.
that's kind of what it's built on. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely it wants you to like know that, it seems, you know. Like, I feel like the other ones, it's more like, I feel as if it's more, I'm forgetting a classic thing to do. The other ones, I feel like the loops serve to make you feel like, wow, I'm like really traversing this thing. Whereas these, I feel like, but like to not fully stand out, like you're, they want to make you feel like you're kind of getting lost in a dungeon, even though they're kind of somewhat guiding you back. This one, they want you to be like, oh, whoa, I came back to this room and now I can go this way. It reminds me of Dodongo's Cavern, where it's like, oh, I can go over here now.
One dungeon that I kept thinking of.
What do you think about this puzzle?
The way forward is hidden in the bottom of the pot.
I don't mean to take away from what you're saying, but this is a very key puzzle.
I don't know what you mean. That was just a little tablet. What's the puzzle here?
I don't. Well, oh, hey, there's this maybe looks. But like I'm in the bottom. What?
Huh. Whoa.
Oh, okay. I know where I can use this.
I actually I really like that puzzle. On this time through, I read the tablet and I was like, well, you probably didn't have to. I think they could have gotten away. Maybe they could have gotten away with just having that there and just having it be an obscure little, like, there's a key under there. But either way, I think that's where I would.
Some of the things, in my opinion, would, or even some of the Eslo hints. Not all of them. Some are fine, but in that, like, what happened to a good old stone beak?
Yep.
I say bring back the stone beak. All right, we've unlocked the lily pad. Oh, back on the pad. Feels good. Pad. But yeah, I miss. I'm always gonna press the stone beak button. I think the stone beak is one of the greatest dungeon features in The Legend of Zelda, and desperately needs to be brought back.
You know what? That the tablet is kind of like a stone beak, just minus the beak and minus.
It's like the telepathy stones and
yeah.
You can't fool me. That's no stone beak.
That's fair.
What?
I like it though. I think that's a fun puzzle. And what I was saying is the kind of like the loop centric, just taking you on a joyride, pretty linear progression.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of reminded me of Skull Dungeon from Oracle of Ages.
Skull Dungeon, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it's got kind of like that. And actually, if you got the map, right?
Oh yeah, we
mind taking a look at
this stuff. Whoa! It looks like a big pot.
Yeah, it looks like a big pot, and B1 looks like a pot too. And it's like, that's honestly, the layout doesn't look totally dissimilar from Skull Dungeon. I was just looking at it before, but that is also kind of like it takes you on one path and you just have to keep following it until you get to the next thing,
Well, it reminds me of my least favorite Link's Awakening dungeon, Bottle Grotto.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, just, it's a big bottle.
We'll see if this can beat that one.
Here's a little bit more open. I don't remember, like, wait. Well, we can go through here, obviously, but isn't there stuff to do over here? Let's explore it out before. This is a thing I do. Okay. No.
Oh, nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, we gotta go up here, but it's like, that's the thing it does sometimes. Especially that room to the right is really egregious, where it's just like, look at this room. And I don't feel like it's like in Link's Awakening, sometimes that's like a hint, like, oh, I gotta try to get, over here or whatever.
Oh, it just
feels more like, look at this room.
That actually kind of felt similar to me, because it's just like a little hint, and I think that's the first time we've seen something frozen in a little ice block there.
That's one of that's one of the, like, kinstones, though, isn't it? Or is it not?
Yeah,
I don't
remember.
Probably,
I don't think it's essential, but
I think it's one of those rooms that, yeah, that's true. I guess that's another case though, where it's like, yeah, if it was a hint for, I don't know, a small key, I'd think it was cooler,
Yeah.
I'm not saying no goodies, every dungeon should have its goodies.
Take that, Matterpillar.
Oh, well, here, I'm good. Compass. Phew. But But the feature, we talked about there's going to be the ice blocks and the light.
Mm-hmm.
But then, this lily pad's back in action.
Love me some lily padding.
I think it would have been okay if it was only in the game once, but, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something that I'm like, I would have been upset if it was gone, but it's kind of fun to ride around on the thing.
The lily pads, like, I feel like it's actually pretty common, especially in certain areas of the overworld. When you're a Minish, you get into a little area and it's like, oh, you gotta get down this hallway of water on the lily pad just to get across.
I guess it does really get across that you're, like, little. So that's important.
There's a little guy.
Lily pad in the dungeon makes me think of, like compared to something like the, mine carts. What's guy's deal? Mine carts in, like, the Oracle games?
Yeah, I could see that.
Where I'm like, oh, like, this should come back, more than just when they introduce it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, lily pad, I'm like, yeah, they could have just stuck with the one, but no, here we are on the lily pad.
I like seeing it again. Ooh, we got another good old ice block pushing puzzle.
Yes, we gotta really think about this one, I think. So,
it's a head scratcher.
The thing to really do would be to just memorize the answer,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna do that. I'm doing honest. I kind of want to, I want to sort of display. I guess everyone has their own strategies as to how they do these. But
you want the raw emotion. You want the raw, uncut Gooey trying to solve a puzzle.
That's what everyone comes for. Well, too, just the idea of, like, I want to see, want to show what it's like, trying to do a puzzle in this game. An authentic,
I think my brain is just trained to do these kinds of puzzles because I saw the solution within like 5 seconds of you showing up here.
Really? Okay, yeah. See, I do not have that at all.
This is like block pushing, where it's like you gotta push it one way and it just goes. I feel like that's something that shows up in Pokemon and just a lot of Nintendo games a lot.
Yeah. Crap, I think I messed it up, actually. I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm just gonna go ham here a little bit. Oh, crud. I still didn't do it. Okay. Then... No, this is the same thing I just did. Can you push them into the water?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I think this is gonna do it. No, it's not. Crap. Oh my god, it's so obvious. So obvious.
Yeah!
I have to look back at the video and see how many times that took. Well, okay, so
first try.
No, we're real here. But let's look at. Oh, well, here's another tease thing, I believe. This kind of gets at. I think one thing for the dungeon for me, it is part of, like. I feel like part of the enjoyment of the dungeon. Here's one of these you can get to. Just goes for how much do you like doing those little puzzles?
Yeah.
For me, it's like they're kind of fun, but it doesn't. It feels weird as like we're now in a later game dungeon, and those puzzles feel like I don't know, like I'm doing a quiz or something, you know what I mean?
That's like a classic puzzle. That's just a puzzle.
Yeah.
That's not even like a video game puzzle. That's just solving a puzzle.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like well, I don't know. Like I said, I'm keeping my things in, and I don't want to knock it. Like be like, well, I'm bad at it, so it's negative. But it does. I don't know.
I love that. I love those. That's like as puzzle gets. That's like those kind of...
We're dark.
It's very dark. That's like those kind of individual puzzles that I feel like you would see in like a room in Wind Waker, where it's like you're not overly concerned with something else outside of the room for the most part. There's usually not like a huge dungeon puzzle, even though sometimes there is. It's just like a series of puzzle-heavy micro puzzles, you know?
I guess what I mean is like it feels to me more like a slide puzzle. You know how like the slide puzzles are in Wind Waker, where it's like, or like doing a Sudoku, you know, as opposed to like comparing it to the light puzzles in this, where it's more like, okay, if I hit this, you know, it feels like oh, I'm navigating like a dungeon, you know. But that's always been an element of Zelda, though. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know,
like that kind of puzzle, I feel like is what makes up a lot of even like A Link to the Past puzzles. There are plenty where it's just like you just have to push this block to be on this switch or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with doing a little Sudoku halfway through a dungeon.
Yeah. Well, we're not done. Well, that's actually the hardest one in the dungeon, though.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, probably.
Look, we're not strong enough here.
A little too big for you, huh?
Here, we got one of these, though.
That's cool.
Meow.
Where's this light coming from? There's just got to be a big thing above us, right?
Yeah, like it's just like a big version.
Yeah.
It'd be maybe too small for human eyes to see from above the dungeon, you know.
Yes.
So okay, this is the Dodongo's cavern element.
Yeah.
We've done the left side.
The pots are still angry.
The pots are mad, yeah. Oh. Link was just standing in the door. I'm like, oh, I have to be hitting forward. Kinstones? Yeah, I don't think in this one... Here's like, this is an example of a room that it's like, this is fun. Though I think if I had to go through here like multiple times to get around, I'd be like, okay,
sure,
maybe not. But it's fun.
Yeah.
But that's where, well, like I was saying,
just
like
dangerous.
This is one where like I probably will not be showing off the goodies, just because I don't really. You saw where they are. You got to go back.
I got them.
And melt them. You know, if it's like if you have the drive to go back and get them, good for you. That is
a good. I feel like it's implemented well enough though, where you've seen them multiple times, and once you get it, you know, if you are interested, it's like a switch goes off in your head of like, oh, now I can go back to that other side and go get those.
Yeah, which we haven't even. You got to get that item. It's quite fun, actually. Okay. What? Interesting. Well, if you were eagle-eyed or paying attention,
yeah,
you would see that that's not quite how this goes.
You're like, wait a minute, I should have opened something up, but oh, that was open before, and you closed
it.
That's kind of neat. It like relies on your knowledge of like what you're doing in the dungeon, and it's like, oh, so now I should be able to go up there and shine the light through and then do it again.
Yeah. They're kind of minor, but those are my favorite, like the favorite puzzles in the dungeon for me.
Yep. That's fair.
Maybe because it's like the most unique, I guess, compared to like other ones we've kind of seen in other games or other dungeons where, I mean, there's been this sort of...
I love it just because it's super reminiscent of that expert puzzle in Thieves' Hideout in A Link to the Past.
Oh, yeah. You know what actually it makes me think of? Look at that.
That's pretty. Oh, no. Some
This is a really
drippies.
gust jar heavy dungeon. Kind of cool. I had the boomerang out, but oh my god!
Ah!
He's back, and this time he's electric.
It's a blue chew.
We can't. The electricity, I think, keeps him safe.
Yes.
Ow! Oh, ow! So it's cool. It's cool to see this fella back.
Oh yeah.
The blue electric stuff is pretty sweet. This is a great example of like bringing the boss back as a mini boss.
Yeah, definitely. He's even bigger. He's the same size, but he's badder. He's electric now. This is a fun revisit.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same fight, but you just can't, get him when he's electric. So the puzzles that we were just talking about, what it really reminds me of is in Swamp Palace in A Link to the Past. You and it shows up in other forms of Zelda, but you have these parts where you have to both use the water level but also use the crystal switches to navigate around, and you'll sometimes, and it's more I think it's better, because it's the main thing of that dungeon, but you'll often have to create an obstacle for yourself and then navigate around it from a different way, essentially. Okay. By either putting up the crystal switch to make a new path.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Which will bring up the blocks, or the water. It's mainly
setting
getting around the blocks to get the water there or whatever. But yeah.
Yep.
So I find that pretty fun. This is like you kind of do it in this. It's a more self-contained little puzzle like that, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. And it does kind of build off itself throughout the dungeon.
Yes.
All right, stop being electric.
This guy don't want to quit.
We really look at the actual sprite of the lightning. Looks really cool. Like when you really look at it.
It's using Thunderbolt.
The stars here are also pretty good.
Yeah.
So all those little effects are
got
sweet.
him. He's exploding.
All right. Now it's gonna be
our item.
That's what I'm talking about.
You got the flame lantern.
So now, let's get this bad boy out. This is maybe the best lantern in the Zelda series.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
What do you think?
I could see that.
I mean, just look at it's raging.
It is cool. It is a very cool lantern.
And look at just like, I don't think the lantern in A Link to the Past can melt ice.
They can't? Maybe that mechanic just wasn't in there. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
I was thinking I like the A Link to the Past one because it has like a little fire spurt in front of you.
Yeah, that is cool. This one though, it just feels like especially because I know the game hasn't come out yet, but there's no well, in A Link to the Past there's the magic meter.
Yeah.
And in Twilight Princess there's the fuel.
Oil. Yeah.
This it like burns eternal.
Goes and goes. Yeah, that is cool. That is very nice.
It really feels like, oh, this is like a magical lantern.
I was just gonna say they could have called it the Magic Lantern.
Yeah, even though it doesn't run on magic.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't have to do that. There's a later room where you have to do that, and it's a pain in the butt.
I know what you're talking about. Very fun. We got a little.
We haven't really
a little extra theme here too. There's a little bit of darkness.
Yeah, it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's just like that one room. He was like, "Oh, yeah, it's dark in here," and then all of a sudden, no. They must have just been thinking like, well, it's kind of cool. I guess there's not like a, they kind of are economic here. They combined the magic rod and the lantern into one item.
Yeah.
Not necessarily magic rod, but like you can burn stuff similar to the fire rod or the magic rod.
That's kind of like the purpose that it serves in this game. It's a similar thing.
It's too bad you can't fire it, you know?
Bombable wall.
This is kind of one of the more blatant... Oh, no!
Whoa! Look at all these freaks.
Can't do this without the lantern. Yeah! I want to see these guys. Yeah, we haven't had, like, new enemies this dungeon, really, have we? It's been...
Not, like... Definitely not individual to this dungeon.
No, it's been a lot.
This might have been one of the first times where we see those, like, blue fly guys that, like, drop things on you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
This is also around the time, like, we saw them before this dungeon, but this is around the time where we're starting to see those little, like, I don't know what to call it. They're like ants, but they can throw their mandibles.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Those guys. We've been seeing those guys a lot. Ant throwing mandibles.
Yeah. I can see the theme. They're kind of sticking with, like, these are all, like, the little things we saw in Deepwood Shrine, but I do feel like they could have done, it could have been a little more creative.
Especially here, there could have been, like, little ice guys.
Yeah, little ice guys.
Yeah. Little ice bugs.
They're not bugs. I don't know. I do think that's a little questionable choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's reasons why, but you know what? It still bugs me.
It bugs me too. You can put those little fire snake guys, but they can't put little ice guys. Come on.
Yeah. There's all these Mothmen flying around.
Yeah. Slugs? Do we need more slugs?
What's happening? There we go.
That's kind of sneaky.
I thought I was holding left and it wasn't going. Oh no.
Fun.
Not this.
Classic block pushing.
This is some more block pushing, yeah. Okay, well, we'll put the counter on the screen.
No, we'll do this first try. This one's not bad.
I'm telling you, my spatial... oh wait, I didn't have to do that.
It's all out of whack.
Right, can I do, this is not first try material here.
Yeah, we can do it.
Oh wait, I
believe.
No, okay, I remember what messed me up in the practice. My, evaluation run was that I didn't remember you could push that back. I don't think that ever happens in the game. So, it, and especially because...
push it back?
Yeah.
I feel like this game, actually, that's something that I have noticed more so than most Zelda games, is that this game has a lot of blocks that you can push several times. Like, because I think most of the time, especially in older Zelda games, you push a block and it's just like, it's there now. You know?
I feel like a lot of the ones in this game, maybe it's just I lack, like, some of the games I'm more used to it, but like, in this...
There are definitely ones that require you splitting where you have to push blocks multiple times.
Uh-huh. Oh,
this is a fun puzzle. I like this one.
We got another doozy here. It's another, block pusher. I think we just gotta get... Oh, well, we should evaluate the whole room. Well, I guess I pushed that one.
This is one of the most memorable puzzles in the dungeon for me, besides, like, the light ones.
This one kind of has it all, where it's got...
Yeah.
Not at all, but...
Oh, it's got it all.
It's got the ice block pushing. And then it's got the ice physics added in with...
Yeah, that's a big
kind of
thing
this hard part of... Oh, okay, shoot. This is kind of hard.
That's like the big thing about this is that you have to... This is probably one of the only... No, there's definitely more. But like, this is one of the first times we see a puzzle where one of the main concerns when you're splitting is like making sure that your doppelganger doesn't like hit something, because it'll disappear.
Oh, I didn't do it fast enough.
It's also timed.
Yeah, this is one where I kind of like the ice physics, and it's frustrating in the way that ice tends to be, but like I think just because it's like you can reset everything right away and whatnot, it's like sure I'll slip around on this. What?
Oh no!
No, we're good. I'll slip on this for days. I'll try it again. I don't mind.
It uses the mechanics to its advantage in the puzzle.
Ow.
Instead of it just being like, oh, it's ice, so it's hard. It's kind of like
you kind of want to go fast.
Yeah,
there's a
fast,
thrill to
but
it.
Also,
too.
That's dangerous. Yeah.
Yes. So we want to do this.
This is an interesting room.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly what's going on, but
it's not a whole lot. But it's like you can't see fully. So I kind of thought like, oh, there must be something more going on here, but there really isn't.
No, you just can't. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
pretty much it. You just kind of push it out of the way, and then you go.
Oh gosh. Okay, here we
This
go.
one.
Here we go.
I got this on my first try last time, and I was very surprised because I feel like I wasn't doing it very well.
Nope. Oh, I'm slipping.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay.
It then becomes a race when they start slowly unlighting, and you're like, no, I can still do it.
Yeah, where you're like, is it more worth it just to reset? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was one, so when I was doing it in practice, oh, crud, I was trying to be very meticulous about it and like, be very precise, and I kept failing. And then
so close! You were a split second off.
No. Yes.
Oh, got it. Nice. Good recovery.
And so I was like, okay, if I just like line myself up and hit it at the right time, and I was trying to time, or I don't know, I was like really focusing, and I got frustrated, and then I think I failed at it a couple times. I was like, yeah, screw it, I'm just gonna like try to go for it really fast, and then that's the time I got it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess that's what I'll try this time, and it worked out all right.
It pays
I
off.
definitely that went better than in my my pre-game run of the dungeon.
But see, I feel like that's the kind of caliber of puzzle. I mean, besides the light ones, which are making you think about your space and stuff like that, a lot of the puzzles in this are just kind of super straight up, like you gotta do these things in a certain amount of time. You gotta hit all these torches and before they run out, and that's it. Or you gotta hit these 2 blocks before your doppelganger disappears, and that's it.
For sure. Yeah, that's why I feel like it really, it's different than like, I guess I have different, like almost different criteria for certain dungeons, because I feel like like depending on how maybe the style of game and how the dungeon's laid out and X, Y, and Z, there's a million reasons, but like I think of in like Ocarina of Time, for those, a lot of dungeons, depending on how much I liked it, really depended on just like kind of how they did one puzzle, like how they led up into and executed one singular puzzle.
Yeah.
Whereas like in this dungeon specifically, it couldn't really be based on that, because there's a couple different motifs that are always building on each other.
Yeah.
But also, it's like there's a bunch of like little puzzles in each room.
There is kind of a big central puzzle, but it's like, it's not, you have to do it. It's not like you have a choice.
Yeah.
You'll do it without even thinking about it,
Yeah, exactly. It's not even like, that part couldn't even be necessarily disappointing to me, because like, it's not even like in Dodongo's Cavern, I was disappointed with kind of the one big puzzle, because it did feel like, oh, this was like a linear dungeon leading to like the big conclusion, and it's pretty epic and stuff, but as a puzzle it was a little for me,
Yeah,
somewhat lackluster, you know, so.
That's fair.
In this, where it's like, this is just kind of...
Pushing the other one.
I mean, it's cool. This is cool. This aspect.
Yeah, so now you're going to melt the ice and you should be able to just go grab the element, right?
We're all good, yeah. No other problems.
Good dungeon. That was
Not
fun.
really. There's no boss. It sucks.
Yeah. Oh, man. We did it, Goo.
Okay.
A lot of trouble.
What in the blazes? We could use some blazes right
In
now.
the blazes. What? It wasn't a statue? That's an Octorok?
Wow! That's stupid Octorok. Okay.
Stupid Octorok.
This
Dang,
speaks to...
Eslo.
I think it's worth mentioning before we go in. I have another bottle, and I got fairies in both bottles, so... you know, I got that going for me.
Look at
Another
this.
boss of that's like
Look at this
normally
guy.
a small thing that is just big because we're small.
Yeah. I love that, though.
He's
And this is another, like, creative way of, like, making you, you know... I don't know, you would never think of this is how you're going to be fighting an Octorok, because in the
This is
overworld,
good.
it's just like, let me slash him twice and he's dead. Same with
Ow.
the Choo-Choo. It's
Oh,
just like, let me
oh.
slash him.
this is
You
a good
just-
ice physics boss.
Yeah, yep. You gotta make him slip so that you can
Yeah.
catch his tail there.
And that is gonna suck me in. Oh, it's okay. I got a lot of hearts. I actually don't remember how to. Oh wait, is that okay? See, no, that's not the sucking in.
It starts the same, but there's like small tells, I think.
Okay. Hello. Whatever. I mean, I got enough hearts that I'll just stand here and slash. So yeah, when
Not
he
for
freezes
this-
up.
Not for this fight, but in this dungeon in general, I found myself low on hearts a lot. Just because
Yeah.
I was hitting a bunch of stuff. Those pots, man. Those pots kept hitting.
Yeah, I was ready for him. So here you got to make the guy slip
Me. Ooh.
on the ice and sneak around to the other
him.
side.
Yeah. And light his little dry tail on fire.
I'm having more audio dips. If
That's so
if
fun.
audio dips show up on the recording, I apologize. But it's not gonna stop me from putting a hurting on this boss.
Heck no.
It's kind of it's in line with I feel like yeah, this boss could be. It's just more deadly, similar to everything. And oh no,
Uh-oh.
oh no,
Getting dark now.
This is just always the phase, right?
Yeah,
I think I didn't
so.
even notice this as much the last time I played because oh my god, knock it off. I had my lantern out and I just didn't. It was like, oh, it's it's not too bad when you have your
Doesn't
lantern.
bother me.
But that got pretty dark there. Oh, ow! Oh, come on!
Oh boy.
Stop putting the smoke on.
You smoke screen.
Ow! See, yeah, we're getting our butts kicked
Yeah,
here.
you only got 5 hearts left there.
This I would say is
4 3/4. 4 and a
Would you
half.
say this is the most challenging boss so far?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. I think only. Oh, come on. Oh, serious.
You're in the
think
beeping
only,
range now.
Yeah. Well, like I said, lucky I got those berries. Oh, I should have my. I can start getting a little bit more defensive here too. I've just kind of been. I've been taking the boss for granted
Brute
somewhat.
forcing it.
Yeah. There was some brute force, yeah, because I was like, whatever. It's a pretty like it's not once you know what to do. It is sort of just like you got to nail it, but it's still somewhat because you're slipping around and stuff. It can be pretty tough to. Are you still charging?
Oh, he's still going.
Yeah, like calm down.
Relax, Octorok.
There we go.
Oh, you got
Oh,
him.
that actually takes them out.
Spinning out of
Okay.
control.
Okay.
And another boss exploding. Another boss hiding AT&T. TNT on his person.
It's got good reception.
He's got great reception.
Oh, we got the element. What's this? The element of water? Water element?
Yeah. Temple of Droplets.
Water quenches thirst, ends droughts, and nourishes life. The water element is the embodiment of that power. Classic.
Nice.
Here, should we gotta get some of this out here.
So that's actually kind of why I like the lily pad, because it's like a water and ice themed dungeon, you know.
Yeah,
not
true.
just ice.
It's Lake Hylia. Yeah. Here, while we're here, let's get a little bonus for everyone. Now we actually do have all the elements that we've been trying to collect, you know. So here we'll treat everyone to a little cutscene, because we've kind of avoided that, you know.
We don't have the wind element.
We don't have the window on it.
The wind element.
The wind element. Oh no!
Because remember they moved it.
You're right. How could I forget? I love this music here at this part, though.
Oh, young one. My name is Gustav.
Stand before me. Love this. This is our first, our first, I guess, 2D ghostly king.
Yeah. Classic. Wait, look at your map. There's
so that's what I mean.
Ghost goo on it.
What I mean is now we actually have kind of to get that element, we have sort of a little bit more of a quest here. So that's pretty cool.
Ooh, yeah.
But we'll be getting more into that in the next video, of course.
Yeah.
For now, why don't we hop up on this stump and
stump.
What do you say we switch over and do the ranking? We've now gotten through the Temple of Droplets. Where would you rank this one on your list of the Zelda dungeons we've covered so far?
So I like this dungeon. It's always very fun. And I was kind of like, oh no, I don't know where I'm going to put it on this list. But one thing that was constantly popping into my head was Skull Dungeon, like I mentioned earlier, because it just reminds me a lot of the flow of that. Thematically, it's like almost kind of the opposite, because Skull Dungeon has like a lot of lava and stuff, but it's still like almost like a gauntlet of just like puzzles and enemies that loops you all the way around until you have to go to the boss. And I was like, all right, that's fresh in my mind. So I look at my list, and conveniently, I already have pretty much all the Minish Cap games kind of clumped together. And I think this, in my opinion, is the strongest in the game so far. It's definitely the one that I enjoy playing through the most, just because if every dungeon in the game were like this, I would probably get really bored, because it is extremely linear, very straightforward. It doesn't ask that much of you, other than the little micro puzzles, but I feel like every Zelda game, there's plenty of room for one or two dungeons like that to kind of break the pace up. And especially if it's accompanied with a really strong thematic element, which I think this dungeon does really well with the ice and the spooky ice theme. We mentioned it's kind of like ice water type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm like, all right, so it's going above Deepwood Shrine, and what do you know? The one right above Deepwood Shrine is Skull Dungeon, Oracle of Ages. So I'm like, okay, now I just gotta decide which I like better, Temple of Droplets or Skull Dungeon. I ended up going with Temple of Droplets because I just think it's more memorable to me than Skull Dungeon. Skull Dungeon is more of a newer appreciation for me, even though it has a lot of it has a lot of the same DNA as Temple of Droplets. I think they function very similarly as dungeons. And then right above that, I have Snowhead Temple from Majora's Mask and Fire Temple. Fire Temple, I feel like, almost functions kind of similarly, where that's like that's kind of a just get on your path and then follow it until you like find a key and unlock the next door and keep going and going. And Snowhead Temple is very similar, at least thematically, but I think both of those are able to accomplish more ambitious puzzles and navigational challenges than this. So I kind of ended up stopping right there. So I put it,
okay.
I have it right now at 26, right above Skull Dungeon.
I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Which is interesting because this will come into play when we do our third little or our extra little ranking element at the end of the season. But I have all of the Minish Cap dungeons right now within like 6 spots of each other.
The thing about that, I actually will probably be similar to you, is like we have them a lot of them grouped up, but I'm still, and I said this in the last video, I'm still like questioning, like, you know, like it's kind of both, like not in the lower parts of our list, but kind of in the middle part of our list. And so that I posted this in the Discord after I finished this dungeon because I'm probably gonna place it similarly to you, like near the other ones.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is kind of getting to the part where I'm like, the game should really be firing it up and like blowing me away. Instead, it's like, I think a lot of dungeons have been like, oh, that was pretty neat, you know, but like nothing that's like rocking my world necessarily.
True. Yeah, that's fair. I could agree to that.
But I mean, it's still early on, so you know, I don't want to fully say.
All of these dungeons so far for me are like right at the bottom threshold, or like they're the barrier of entry into the rest of my list, which I think are great dungeons. I feel like these are right on the cusp of like they're good or very good, but they're not quite in that upper tier, you know?
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I didn't say about this one, because I don't know if it's all just on it. I guess nothing specifically like you could say about a dungeon is like certain things you could say about a dungeon aren't necessarily a criticism. Like you could say, it could be for some people, but you could say like, oh, this dungeon's linear, you know, like that.
Yeah. Yep.
That doesn't always necessarily mean bad. I have
it's
another
kind of a trigger word for some people.
Yeah, and I'm not. That's not the word I'm going to employ here. That I think hurts her for me. But one thing I noticed, and part of it I think is I got stuck on that puzzle for a second. But it does feel, and I guess it should because it's kind of later on in the game. But it feels like for me it feels like it goes on kind of long. Like it's kind of a long dungeon, and I think compared to the last one, I feel like it can be longer because you can like get lost in it a little bit, whereas this I feel like, you know, that's not as possible. So it feels like I don't know, I just feel like there's a point where I'm like, I'm kind of ready to wrap this up.
Okay.
It's not like there's in you know, the next game there's a dungeon that's notorious for that. It's not on that level, but it has that for me a little bit. I think that just goes for it. It's like it's just because not a specific thing about it other than like I talked about how much I really like the light puzzles, but like the navigating around on the lily pad, while it's cool, it's like and it's kind of neat because you're doing it's like more rooms you're doing it throughout, but it's not a mechanic that blows me away as much. Much like too, like the ice block puzzles, like they're fun, but they're not. That last one is really cool, I think. But like,
disparaging my ice block, but there's nothing quite like a nice ice block puzzle.
No, I don't want to disparage any of those elements. It's just not it. Like I said in the gameplay, it's like it. I think for me, it really just goes. It's like those specific micro thing like puzzles. Mm-hmm. Aren't as fun to me as like one that just I was thinking about was Wing Dungeon in Oracle of Ages. They have all these little like color puzzles and stuff. I really like those and how those play into it, and how they play into the dungeon. Whereas like I don't know, yeah, like, it's the lily pad and the ice block, that's not as fun to me. I almost wish there was more of the light stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. And I could also definitely see how, like, something like the ice block pushing puzzles, it's like, even once you have the solution in your head, that's just because of the mechanics, because you're on ice and you got to push it, and then you got to get to the right position, and then you got to push it again. I could see how, like, the satisfaction of solving that puzzle could maybe be lessened by the fact that it's not an immediate thing. It's like you figure it out in your head, and then it's like, okay, now I just have to push the block like 5 or 6 times and then get out of here.
Yeah,
and I could see why it's interesting you say that, because about this dungeon feeling long, because I played this dungeon last night and I actually was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish, because it was late, I was getting tired, and I kind of blazed through it, and I was like, wow, that was quicker than expected.
Yeah, I mean,
but I could see why it would. I could definitely see aspects of it leaning to taking a long time if it's not something that you're like go.
Yeah, and I think that just might be for me, like I said, the specific puzzles like don't connect with you as much. Yeah. Like,
you don't want to get stuck on a puzzle halfway through and then have like the all the rest of the dungeon left.
And it is like that's the thing, is like, because it's like it's coming after a dungeon that's more open-ended, so I feel like it is nice to kind of bounce back from that and do something different, you know, like especially like where you open up the boss room right away. It almost is like meant to surprise you with how vast it is, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't want to dog on it too hard, but I think if I'm looking at the elements of like what I like about, like, if I'm looking at the other dungeons in the game, there's the first dungeon, Deepwood Shrine, I feel like with kind of the specific gimmick, like how it handles like the being small and like the dungeon gimmick of the barrel and how all that works, I'm kind of charmed by that one a lot. I find that Cave of Flames, like, that one's a more straightforward one, but I find the more kind of like quick action platforminess of that one more fun than the slipping around on ice, which I think that also depends on, that's going to depend, you know, it's going to affect how much someone likes the dungeon, I would say, too, is how much they like slipping around on ice. I'm kind of mixed on it, like I said. And then obviously Fortress of Winds I like a lot for how it's laid out and its exploration and stuff, and some of the puzzles in there are kind of neat. So when I look at all those, like, I feel like I do like all of those better than this dungeon. So I think I would rank this below all the other dungeons in this game.
See, this is the biggest discrepancy so far in our Minish Cap ranking.
But, and again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm hitting hard on this dungeon. I don't think it's any, like, I wouldn't put it, I think, any lower than where I have it. I would probably have it just below, like, Cave of Flames on my list, and above Face Shrine. And that fits more into, like, if I always view those A Link to the Past dungeons that are grouped together just below as, like, dungeons that I think are, like, those are cool ideas I like, even, like, and also Fire Temple Ocarina. Like, cool ideas I like, but the dungeons just, it's, like, doesn't fully hit for me, you know? So it's, like, they're good dungeons, but they're, you know, they're kind of lower of my more favorite ones, you know? So,
okay.
Yeah, just, I would say, like, the ones that are just below average for me, you know? Not they're bad, but they don't, I don't know, they don't speak to me as much. So
it doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me. And I
unfreezing and fighting that big old Octorok, that doesn't do nothing for you.
Well,
that little shock
actually,
factor?
That's one thing I'll say is, I think I was leaning that Mazal was my favorite boss, but I think this might be my favorite boss in the game.
Okay.
But it doesn't fully make it up for me. But that's what I'm saying, is I feel like these are all quality, like, pretty quality dungeons, you know what I mean? Like, they rank all, but they rank all close together. I feel like
yeah, they do.
It's a nice package, but I am feeling like and we'll see as the game goes on, but some of these other games that are higher up are a little bit more uneven in the quality or something, you could say. Like I think Majora's Mask is a good example, actually, where like it has one dungeon, Woodfall, that I'm like, meh, but then it has like some dungeons that I'm like, these like they're more. I feel like they're more ambitious, so they take more risks, and so they come up with, I think, some truly like groundbreaking dungeons, where this, I feel like they've honed it in. They've got a nice like, these are all fun, like really quality dungeons, but there's not been one that I've just been like, other than like, I think the biggest thing that these dungeons so far have standing out to me is just, I think, the novelty of like, oh, I've become a little guy. Like,
a little guy.
They've really sold me on that, and some really unique, fun puzzles like the Wind Waker, but more on a macro level. Whereas I feel like some of the other games have had like these big puzzle gimmicks that have really blown me away. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to sound too negative. I think this is.
I think that's fair. I think I could see that. I do think they're like, in my opinion, the least ambitious dungeon in this game is Cave of Flames, just because I don't think there's fun, which is crazy to say, because like,
I agree with
for me at least, if you were to ask me what I think of Cave of Flames, I'd be like, oh, that's a great dungeon. It's a lot of fun. I have it last for Minish Cap right now, and I think that's saying something, and I think that's just because like that dungeon is just a lot of like, there's a lot of platformy elements. There's a lot of getting out of the way of hazards and enemies and stuff like that. But it is kind of a follow the path type dungeon. Whereas this, and I think this one is kind of like that as well. It's just a little bit stronger. I don't know. I like the individual puzzles better. I think it's more cohesive than that. The other two, I think, are somewhat ambitious as well. I think Deepwood with the barrel was really cool.
I think what's like well, this is just saying what I said before, but in a different way. But I think the most ambitious aspects of it are just how they are able to convey these big puzzle. You said this about the barrel in the first episode, like getting that idea across in 2D. That is pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
But I think like that barrel puzzle, it's, you know, like it's, I don't know, I guess it's pretty comparable actually to Inside the Deku Tree. I think we both agreed about that.
Yeah.
But I guess that also shows like Deku Tree. This goes back to what I was saying, like Deku Tree on my list. I think it's one of the best dungeons. It's number 30 though, because it's fairly simple. And I guess, you know, I was sort of we haven't gotten to we're at the point in the game, whereas like some of the other games have thrown ones at me that are like wow, this is like truly hitters, crazy. Yeah. I feel like we're lacking a heavy hitter, and I don't know. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm like, are we gonna get a heavy hitter?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. None of them are really swinging for the fences. They're all just getting base hits.
That's what I think. I think they are on my list. They are right on the cusp, and it sounds crazy because there's, you know, it's only a list of 75, and like they're, for me, sitting outside the top 30. But I think like right now, my top 30 dungeons, like almost all of them, you could say to me like this is the best dungeon in the series, and I would be like, yeah, for sure. I could see the argument for it. Almost all of them. There's some where I'm like, no, 30 is probably the right spot for now, but so like Minish Cap is like sitting just outside of that for me, where like I've like really liked every dungeon we've played, but not a single one of them I would say like this is the best dungeon, is like could be argued as one of the best dungeons. The closest thing I can think of is like you could make an argument for me as Deepwood being one of the best like intro dungeons.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
So I don't know. I'm like pre ragging on the game overall, but we'll see.
But hey, we got 2 dungeons left, and you said this one felt long. Those ones are some pretty long dungeons.
The next one is notorious for being kind of long. So we'll see. Like I said, being long necessarily not bad. It's just how the dungeon is long. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm excited to see how we think about these next 2.
Yeah, me too. Because like I have been trying to take them all, like I said, with like a open mind, and I've been in general playing this game with an open mind, and I've been having a blast. As you saw, I got the boomerang, I got a bottle. I'm loving poking around Minish Cap, and I'm loving my time with it. So, yeah, I hope we're doing the game justice. It is a quality game.
I had been kind of like blazing through this game, just like doing less than I normally would, just to get to the dungeons, just so that I could play it for this. But this time around, particularly, I was like, all right, I gotta get the books and I gotta go do the thing. But I was like, oh, but like I have the moment, so I gotta go like, do some digging. I gotta go do some exploring.
Yeah, dig, yeah.
And then I would find kinstones and be like, well, I gotta go fuse some kinstones.
Yeah, I did feel the need to do a lot of that. I probably fused more kinstones in this playthrough than like other playthroughs of the game I've done combined. So yeah. All right, well, let's see. Yeah, we'll see how we place those other ones. Really looking forward to it. We'll see everybody in the next video.